All right. Ready to dive deep into C++C, the languages behind so much of our tech.
Yeah.
Whether you're brushing up or just curious, we're going to explore C++ why it matters, and where it fits in the big tech picture today.
It's interesting you say that because it's not just a language.
Right.
It's a cornerstone of how software interacts with hardware.
Okay.
Understanding them gives you a real understanding of how things work at a fundamental level.
So let's go back to the beginning. C was born in the 70s, Bell Labs, thanks to Dennis Ritchie.
Right.
It was created to rewrite the Unix operating system.
Yes, and think about that
Yeah.
for a second. The fact that even today, operating systems like Windows and macOS have roots in C code
Wow.
shows you how foundational it is. It's like the bedrock,
Right.
the unseen foundation that supports everything else.
Okay, so C is the foundation. Then along comes C++ in the 80s, created by Bjorn Strastrup, also at Bell Labs.
Yep.
I've heard it described as C with classes.
That's a common way to put it. C++ essentially introduced object-oriented programming,
Okay.
or OOP.
OOP.
Before OOP,
Hello.
imagine trying to build a giant Lego castle with only a pile of individual bricks and no instructions.
Right.
OOP provided the blueprints and the modular blocks,
Yeah.
making it much easier to build and manage large, complex programs.
Okay, that's a really helpful analogy.
Yeah,
So OOP brought organization and reusability to programming.
exactly.
Okay, I'm starting to see why C++ was such a big deal. Now, I keep hearing about low-level access with C++. What does that actually mean, and why is it important?
Imagine you're a mechanic who can work directly on a car's engine,
Okay.
fine-tuning everything for peak performance.
All right.
That's what low-level access allows you to do with software. C++
Yeah.
lets you interact directly with the hardware,
Wow.
giving you granular control and allowing you to squeeze out maximum performance.
So if you need something to be super fast and efficient, C++ is your go-to.
Exactly. That's why it's so popular for things like game development,
Oh, okay.
where responsiveness and speed are crucial for a smooth, immersive experience. Even today, C++ is behind many of the most popular game engines.
All right, so we've got C with its step-by-step procedural approach,
Awesome.
and then C++ comes in and adds OOP. Plus, there's this thing called the standard template library,
Yep.
STL and C++S, right?
The STL is like a treasure chest of pre-built code blocks,
Oh, okay.
ready to use for common tasks.
Nice.
Need to sort data? There's an algorithm for that in the STL. Need a dynamic array?
Yeah.
The STL has you covered. It saves a ton of time and effort,
Wow.
allowing you to focus on the unique aspects of your program.
So far, it sounds like C++ is all about power and control, but are there any downsides to all this flexibility? Is there a catch?
Well, one trade-off is that C++ has a steeper learning curve than some other languages. It's powerful and gives you a lot of control, but that comes with complexity, especially when it comes to memory management.
Yeah, I have to admit, when I first tried to learn C++ memory management, felt like trying to juggle chainsaws blindfolded.
Oh, yeah.
It's not exactly beginner-friendly.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
It's like the difference between driving an automatic car and a manual one.
Right.
The automatic is easier to use, but the manual gives you more control. C++ is the manual car of programming languages.
Okay.
You have to be mindful of how you allocate and release memory. And if you're not careful,
Right.
it can lead to errors and even security vulnerabilities.
Okay, so it's a powerful tool,
Yeah,
but it demands respect and careful handling.
definitely.
But let's get real.
Yeah.
Where does all this power actually come into play? What are some specific areas where C++ shines in the real world?
One area is embedded systems. Think about all the smart devices around us,
Okay.
from medical equipment to your car's onboard computer.
Right.
C++ plus efficiency and its ability to talk directly to hardware make it perfect for those resource-limited environments.
So C++ is the unsung hero behind so much of the technology we take for granted.
Exactly. And when you need to crunch massive amounts of data,
Okay.
think financial modeling, scientific research, even weather forecasting,
Right.
that's where high-performance computing comes in.
Yeah.
And C++'s raw speed is essential there.
Okay, so embedded systems, high-performance computing. What else?
We've already mentioned game development, but there's so much more. Think about operating systems like Windows, Linux, and macOS.
Okay.
They all have C++ at their core.
Wow.
Even parts of web browsers and databases rely on C++ for performance-critical components.
Wow, it's kind of mind-blowing to think about how these languages are everywhere,
It's true.
working behind the scenes to make everything run smoothly.
And there's more. Real-time systems, which demand instant responses.
Oh,
Things like flight control systems, financial trading platforms, and even robotics
right.
heavily rely on CC++'s speed and precision.
It sounds like if something needs to be super fast,
Yeah.
reliable, and efficient, CC++ is often the answer.
Often, yeah.
Okay, so we've established that CC++ is like the Swiss Army knife of programming languages.
Right.
But beyond those basics, what are some of the more specialized tools in the CC++ toolbox that people might not know about?
There's a vast ecosystem of libraries and frameworks built around CC++.
Okay.
For example, there's Qt, a powerful framework for creating user interfaces. It's used in everything from desktop applications to embedded systems,
Wow.
even medical devices.
Qt, that's interesting. What else is out there?
Well, if computer vision is your thing, there's OpenCV.
Okay.
It's a library packed with algorithms for image processing, object detection,
Yeah.
and even facial recognition.
Yeah.
It's used in self-driving cars, security systems,
Wow.
and even medical imaging.
Facial recognition, self-driving cars. CC++ really is everywhere. But let's be honest, is it just a legacy language, or is it still relevant in today's rapidly evolving tech landscape? I mean, with all the new languages popping up, does CC++ still have a future?
That's a great question, and the answer is a resounding yes.
Yeah.
CC++ isn't a relic of the past.
Okay.
It's constantly evolving. Modern C++ standards, like C++11 and beyond,
Yeah.
have introduced powerful features that make the language more expressive, efficient, and even, dare I say, enjoyable to use.
CC++ enjoyable. I wouldn't go that far, but I'm curious to hear more about these modern features. What kind of impact are they having?
One example is the concept of move semantics.
Okay.
It might sound a bit technical,
Yeah.
but imagine you're moving into a new house. Instead of painstakingly photocopying every single document and item,
Right.
you simply pack up your belongings and move them to the new location.
Hmm.
That's essentially what move semantics allows you to do with data in C++ Whale.
Right.
It enables you to transfer ownership of data efficiently without unnecessary copying,
Right.
leading to significant performance improvements and reduced memory usage.
So it's all about making C++ more efficient and less clunky.
Exactly. And then there are Lambda expressions.
Okay.
Think of them as little snippets of code you can define and use right within your program.
Oh, right.
They're like mini functions that help you write more concise and expressive code.
Okay, I'm starting to see the power and flexibility of Lambda expressions. It's like being able to customize your code on the fly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And let's not forget about smart pointers,
Right.
which we touched on earlier.
Yes.
They automate memory management,
Yeah.
making it much harder to introduce memory leaks.
Smart pointers sound like a lifesaver.
Yeah.
So it's safe to say that CC++ is not just surviving, it's thriving in the 21st century.
Absolutely. Its relevance is only growing,
Okay.
especially as we move toward an even more connected world with advancements in AI,
Yeah.
the Internet of Things, and edge computing. These fields demand high-performance, low-level languages,
Hmm.
and that's where CC++ truly shines.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
The origins of CC++,
Yeah.
its core features,
Yep.
pros and cons,
Yep.
and even a glimpse into its real-world applications. But before we move on, let's take a moment to recap the key takeaways from this first part of our CC++ adventure.
Great idea. We began by tracing the origins of C and C++,
Right.
highlighting their distinct roles in computing history. Then we dug into the core features that give these languages their power: low-level access, procedural and object-oriented programming,
Yeah.
and the vast ecosystem of libraries and frameworks.
And we also examined the advantages and disadvantages, acknowledging that CC++'s power comes with a steeper learning curve and some inherent complexities, especially when it comes to memory management.
For sure.
And we certainly couldn't forget about the amazing breadth of real-world applications,
Absolutely not.
from operating systems and embedded systems to game development, high-performance computing.
Yeah.
And everything in between. CC++ is truly everywhere.
It really is.
It's been quite a journey so far, and we're just getting started. But before we move on to part 2, where we'll delve even deeper into the world of CC++, I'd like to leave you with a thought-provoking question to ponder.
Given CC++'s enduring power and its continued evolution, what role do you envision it playing in shaping the future of technology? Think about the emerging fields,
Yeah.
the challenges we face, and the possibilities that lie ahead.
It's a fascinating question to contemplate. But for now, we'll have to pause our deep dive here. We'll be back soon with part 2, where we'll explore even more fascinating facets of CC++. Until then, keep exploring, stay curious, and remember, the world of CC++ is waiting to be discovered.
Welcome back to our deep dive into CC++.
Yeah.
I hope you've had a chance to consider that question we left you with.
You bet I have.
Good.
It's really got me thinking about where these languages are headed. But before we get too lost in the future, let's get back to some of the challenges of working with CC++ today. We talked about memory management being tricky, especially for beginners.
Absolutely. One of the biggest hurdles for CC++ developers,
Right.
especially those coming from languages like Java or Python,
Okay.
is this lack of automatic garbage collection.
Okay, so remind me, what's garbage collection again?
It's essentially like having a self-cleaning oven in your kitchen.
Okay.
You use it,
Right.
it gets messy,
Yeah.
but you don't have to worry about cleaning up every single crumb.
Right.
The garbage collector in languages like Java handles that for you,
Okay.
automatically reclaiming unused memory.
That does sound convenient.
It is.
But CC++ makes you do all the cleaning yourself.
Exactly.
Okay.
You, the developer, are responsible for both allocating and deallocating memory.
Right.
If you forget to deallocate memory that's no longer needed, it can lead to memory leaks. Imagine leaving a faucet running.
Okay.
Eventually, your house is going to flood.
Right.
Memory leaks are similar.
Okay.
They slowly eat up available memory, which can cause your program to slow down, crash, or even become vulnerable to security exploits.
Okay, I see why manual memory management can be such a headache. What other challenges trip up CC++ developers?
Well, the syntax can be another stumbling block.
Okay.
CC++ is known for being quite cryptic and unforgiving.
Right.
One misplaced semicolon or a missing bracket can lead to hours of frustration as you try to track down the error.
So it's like trying to write a novel in a foreign language with no spell check or grammar guide. Yikes.
That's a good analogy.
Mm.
And then there's the issue of undefined behavior. There are certain operations in CC++ that the language standard doesn't explicitly define,
Right.
which means the outcome is unpredictable. The result might vary depending on the compiler you're using,
Oh, wow.
or even the specific hardware your program is running on.
That sounds a little unnerving. It's like playing a game where the rules keep changing without you knowing.
It can be frustrating, for sure.
Right.
These nuances and potential pitfalls are definitely part of what makes CC++ challenging,
Yeah.
especially for those just starting out.
All right, so CC++ definitely has its quirks. But I imagine experienced developers have developed strategies and tools to manage these challenges, right? We're not just throwing chainsaws around without any safety gear, are we?
Of course not. First and foremost, experience is key.
Right.
The more you work with CC++, the better you become at anticipating and avoiding these pitfalls.
Okay.
But thankfully, there are also some fantastic tools and techniques to help us out.
Tell me everything. What kind of tools are we talking about?
Well, for memory management, there are tools like Volgrind.
Okay.
It's a powerful debugging tool that can help you detect and fix memory leaks.
Volgrind, that sounds almost mythical, like a legendary dragon slayer or something.
It kind of is. It's a lifesaver for CC++ developers.
Hmm.
And then, to ensure code quality,
Yeah.
there are static analyzers.
Okay.
These tools scan your code for potential errors, style violations, and even security vulnerabilities. It's like having an extra pair of eyes reviewing your code,
Yeah.
helping you catch mistakes before they turn into major problems.
So it's like a super-powered spell check and grammar checker, but for code.
Exactly. These tools are essential for writing cleaner, more robust, and secure CC++ code.
Okay, so we've acknowledged the challenges.
Yeah.
And thankfully, we've got some tools to help us navigate them.
Right.
But let's shift gears for a bit. We've mentioned that CC++ is evolving, with new standards constantly being released. Can you give us a peek into what's new and exciting in the world of modern C++ day? What's got you, as an expert, excited about the future of these languages?
One of the most significant changes in recent C++ standards is the introduction of move semantics.
Okay.
It's a way to transfer ownership of data between objects without making unnecessary copies.
Okay, that sounds pretty technical. Can you give me a real-world example?
Sure. Imagine you're moving a heavy piece of furniture from one room to another.
Okay.
You could try to clone the furniture,
Right.
creating an exact replica,
Yeah.
and then put the clone in the new room.
Yeah.
But that would be incredibly inefficient and time-consuming.
Yeah. Would be.
Instead, you simply move the existing furniture to the new location.
Right.
Move semantics in C++ works in a similar way.
Okay.
It eliminates the need for those costly copy operations,
Right.
making your code more efficient and faster.
I'm starting to see why you're excited about move semantics.
Yeah.
It's all about making C++ code leaner and more performant.
Mhm.
What else has changed?
Another great addition is Lambda expressions.
Oh.
They allow you to define short, anonymous functions right within your code,
All right.
making it more concise and expressive.
Lambda expressions, that sounds a little mysterious, like something out of a sci-fi movie. Can you give me a concrete example of how they're used?
Absolutely. Let's say you're working with a large data set
Okay.
and you want to filter it based on certain criteria.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, you might have had to write a separate named function to do the filtering.
Right.
But with Lambda expressions, you can define that filtering logic right within the code where you need it
Yeah.
without the need for a separate function.
Okay.
It's like having a mini toolbox right at your fingertips,
Right.
ready to tackle specific tasks within your code.
Okay. I'm starting to see the power and flexibility of Lambda expressions. It's like being able to customize your code on the fly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And let's not forget about smart pointers,
Right.
which we touched on earlier.
Yes.
They automate memory management, making it much harder to introduce memory leaks.
Yeah.
It's like having a safety net that catches you before you fall into the memory management abyss.
So modern C++ is all about power, flexibility, and making our lives as developers a little easier. It's like C++ has gone to finishing school and learned some manners.
You could say that.
Yep.
And the best part is, these advancements aren't just for show.
Right.
They have a real impact on how we write and think about code. Modern C++ is making the language more powerful, safer, and even more enjoyable to work with.
I'm definitely sensing your enthusiasm, and it's contagious.
Good.
So it's safe to say that C++ isn't just surviving, it's evolving and adapting to the demands of the 21st century.
Without a doubt.
Okay.
And its relevance is only going to grow.
Right.
Think about the rise of the Internet of Things,
Yes.
the advancements in artificial intelligence,
Uh-huh.
and the growing need for edge computing. All of these trends demand high-performance, low-level languages.
Yeah.
And that's where C++ excels.
So if someone is listening to this and thinking about diving into the world of C++, is it a good career move? Is there still a demand for these skills?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
C++ skills are in high demand, especially in fields like embedded systems, game development, high-performance computing, and even finance, where low latency and high performance are crucial. And the skills you learn are highly transferable.
What do you mean by transferable?
Once you understand the fundamentals of memory management, pointers,
Yeah.
and how to work at a low level,
Right.
you've got a solid foundation for learning almost any other programming language.
Oh, wow.
It's like learning to drive a manual car.
Right.
Once you master that, driving an automatic is a breeze. C++ gives you that deep understanding of how things work under the hood,
Yeah.
which is invaluable in any area of software development.
That's a great point. It's about learning how to think like a programmer,
Exactly.
not just memorizing syntax. So C++ isn't just a language, it's a way of thinking about and solving problems.
You hit the nail on the head.
Okay, good.
And that's why I believe C++ will continue to be relevant and valuable for years to come.
Right.
It's a gateway to understanding how computers work at their core.
Yeah.
And that knowledge will always be in demand.
We're getting close to the end of part 2 of our C++ deep dive.
We are.
And it's been a fantastic journey so far. Any final thoughts before we wrap up this segment?
Yes, I'd like to leave our listeners with a thought to ponder.
Okay.
We've talked about the challenges of C++,
Yeah.
the complexity, the steep learning curve.
Right.
But don't let those aspects intimidate you.
Okay.
It's a journey worth taking.
All right.
The satisfaction of mastering these languages,
Yeah.
of understanding how to build high-performance software,
Right.
of being able to create something truly powerful,
Yeah.
that's an incredible feeling.
I'm starting to get that feeling myself. It's like you're not just writing code, you're shaping the very building blocks of technology.
Exactly. And with that ability comes a sense of empowerment,
Right.
a realization that you can create anything you can imagine.
Well said. But for now, we'll have to say goodbye until part 3 of our deep dive, where we'll explore even more fascinating aspects of C++. Until then, keep exploring, keep coding, and remember, the world of C++ is waiting to be discovered. Welcome back to the final part of our C++ deep dive.
Yeah.
We've traced the evolution of these languages, explored their strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
We've even glimpsed into the real-world impact.
Absolutely.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It really has.
But, I still sense this perception that CC++ is this exclusive club,
Right.
a place for hardcore programmers coding away in dimly lit rooms,
Yeah.
not exactly welcoming to newcomers.
I know what you mean.
There's this image of CC++ being super complex and intimidating.
Yeah, it can be.
So if someone's listening right now feeling inspired but a bit overwhelmed,
Right.
where's a good place for them to even begin?
My advice is to start with the fundamentals.
Okay.
Really get a solid grasp of the core concepts. Data types, variables, control flow, functions, those building blocks.
So build that strong foundation, brick by brick.
Exactly.
No shortcuts.
Exactly. And the good news is
Yeah.
there are tons of fantastic resources available.
Right.
Online tutorials, interactive coding platforms, and, yes, even good old-fashioned books.
Nice.
There's a learning style out there for everyone.
What about finding a mentor or joining a community? I've always found that having a support system is so helpful when learning something new.
Absolutely. Connecting with other learners and experienced CC++ developers can be incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
There are online forums, communities like Stack Overflow, even local meetups.
Right.
It's a chance to share knowledge, ask questions, and learn from each other's experiences.
It's like having a guide and a map when you're exploring uncharted territory.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to experiment, to break things, to make mistakes.
Right.
That's how we learn and grow as developers.
I love that. Embrace the chaos, learn from the bugs.
Exactly.
It's all part of a coding adventure
Yeah.
as you gain more confidence. Start exploring that vast world of libraries and frameworks.
Yeah.
We talked about Qt for building user interfaces and OpenCV for computer vision.
That's right.
There's a whole universe of tools out there waiting to be discovered.
Absolutely.
It's like leveling up in a game,
It is.
unlocking new skills and expanding your creative possibilities.
And the more you learn, the more you realize how much more there is to explore.
Wow.
It's a continuous journey of discovery and growth.
So it's not just about reaching a destination, it's about enjoying the journey of continuous learning and exploration.
That's the beauty of CC++.
Yeah?
It opens up a world of possibilities, limited only by your imagination.
As we wrap up this deep dive into the world of CC++,
Yes.
I'm feeling a sense of awe and excitement. Awe at the power and versatility of these languages and excitement for what the future holds.
It's been a privilege to share this journey with you and our listeners.
To everyone listening, we hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, maybe even inspired you to embark on your own CC++ adventure.
Every journey begins with a single step.
So take that step, embrace the challenge, and who knows, you might just build the next groundbreaking technology.
great.
Until next time, keep coding, keep exploring, and never stop learning.